Hey, it's Friday, and I decided what I wanted to do on my Friday was to build a blanket fort because I'm a grown woman and I should get to build a blanket fort whenever I feel like it. It's been a while since I built one, so yeah, my skills are a little rusty and I don't have all the proper kind of sheets. I prefer just a fitted sheet so I don't have a lot of top sheets. Turns out those are really important for making blanket forts because the fitted sheets, they just want to like. So I wanted to talk. Charlie Tail, do not knock that down. This might all fall apart in just any second now, so bear with me if that happens. Charlie, let's talk about a book. She doesn't really want to talk about it. She doesn't read much. Neither of the girls really read much. They stopped me from reading. This is getting really off the rails already. I guess what inspired me, well, what partially inspired me to make a blanket for it tonight was the book that I just finished reading on my way home today. So the book is called Big Magic: Creative Living Beyond Fear by Elizabeth Gilbert. To be honest, I was first drawn to this book because the cover is really, really pretty. I'm not gonna lie, and say that I'm too good for self-help books because I've read a self-help book or two. But I've been drawn to this one first because of the cover and then the topic, because I think of myself as a pretty creative person, but we all kind of go through, you know, lulls in our creativity, and it's always interesting to see how somebody else kind of comes out creativity. Elizabeth Gilbert is probably best known as the author of Eat, Pray, Love, which was like, you know, a huge bestseller for like 3 years, and they made a movie with Julia Roberts, and I read the first third of it. I was a little interested to see what she had to say. It's the only thing I've read by her, and I didn't really have an opinion here or there on her, so I was, you know, I didn't know where she was going to come at it from. But it turns out she has this really weird, magical way of thinking about creativity and inspiration and working at your craft, whatever that craft may be, which I found really fascinating. And she hooked me right from the beginning because she starts off talking about this poet named Jack Gilbert, who I learned about in college because my best friend Holly was reading him in one of her classes, and so that's just a poet that I love, and he doesn't get mentioned very often. So she starts off talking about how he was a really talented poet, and when his first book came out, he won a big literary award, and he could have been really famous, but he just didn't want to be famous, so he would go off and live by himself, and most of the time he lived in like a shepherd's hut on like a mountaintop in Greece, and he would write a book and he would come down from the mountain and he'd publish the book and it would get great reviews, and then he would leave again and go live on the mountain again. But for some reason, one year he took a teaching position at this college in Tennessee, I think, and he taught writing, and then Elizabeth Gilbert took that same seat the next year after he was done. And so she became fascinated with him and all the stories that people were telling about him around campus, including one that was just, I mean, it's the very beginning of the book, but it was definitely like my favorite kind of thing to get hooked into the book, which was he spoke with a young woman after class one day, and he asked her what she knew what she wanted to do, and she was finished with her schooling, and she said, "I think I want to be a writer." Paraphrased, he said, "Do you have the courage to bring forth the treasures that are within you?" Well, that's how Elizabeth Gilbert paraphrases it. It was just really amazing. So she kind of sees ideas as these things that are like floating out in the universe, and they're magical, sort of, and they'll come and they'll like knock on your door. Basically, they'll tap you on the shoulder and they'll say, "Hey, do you want to collaborate on this?" Because they're looking for human collaborators so that they can be made physical or brought into the real world or onto this plane or something. And they'll, you know, knock on your door for hours, sometimes for days, for a year. But eventually, if you don't answer that call, they'll leave and they'll go to somebody else. And then you'll try to come to that idea and that inspiration won't be there anymore. So I thought that was really cool. She just has a really neat way of thinking about creating things, whether it's great art or like putting art out into the world and trying to make a living from it, or just having something you do for fun that makes you feel good and a way to express yourself. And I mean, you're really excited to make things. I feel like I'm making things all the time. I make these. I have my new podcast. I should be writing more, but that made me really want to write. So this weekend I'm also going to be doing some writing. I just kind of made it. She had like a really fun analogy about treating your passion or your creative endeavors like a mistress or piece on the side, which is like sneak time to, even if you have a busy schedule, people who are having an affair find ways to spend an hour, 20 minutes, 30 minutes with their paramour, and you should do the same with your work. You should be so passionate about it that you just want to sneak off to a stairwell and make out with it for 15 minutes. And, kind of get away from your real life and your other responsibilities. And she had some cool things to say about not being a martyr for your work, being a trickster instead, and you should read that part. That's pretty cool. But yeah, so I just really enjoyed this book. I would give it 5 stars. I'm definitely going to be buying a physical copy of it so that I can highlight and write all over it. It's a really pretty cover. That helps as well. So okay, that's it for me. I'm going to enjoy my blanket fort. I'm going to watch a movie. I'm going to read a book. And that's going to be it for me. So make sure you do all those nice things you can do on YouTube. Like this video. Comment below if you've read Big Magic. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video wherever you share YouTube videos. And I hope you have a good day, a good evening. I hope you are happy. I hope you're safe. And I hope you have a good book to read. Anyways, the cats are kind of freaking out about it. It's cool. Leo's watching from up there, and Charlie has now joined me. You want to say hi, Charlie? Yeah, you want to say hi? Yes. Say hi. Yeah, so there's Charlie. Charlie, look. No, she only cares about me.